Ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, non-binary pals, what exactly are we looking at here? Well, as I'm sure you can tell, a project that isn't exactly done yet, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about it. For today's video, I thought it'd be fun to jump into part 1 of making this custom locomotive and the process behind it. And with that being said, what exactly are we making? I don't really know. Now, at first it was supposed to be, and as you'll hear me reference, a play-rail version of the Hudswell-Clark 1800 Thomas, but, well, as I did it, it just started drawing inspiration from other Thomases, like the Awdry wooden Thomas model. Yep, yada yada yada, basically, we're here. Hell, it kinda looks like 1369, since it's in this primer. And you're probably still wondering how exactly we got to this point. So let's talk about it. Okay, so the process for turning this thing into the Hudswell-Clark 1800 does seem a bit daunting. There's quite a bit to do, as I'm sure you can tell. But first things first, let's start out with what we need. We've got the Nia, we need some, well, I'm gonna be using some red wheels, so let's get these over here as well. Got the side rods, a screwdriver, and I'm thinking we're gonna need the Dremel again, but I'm not gonna go grab that yet. Just know that that's gonna probably be on standby. All right, there we go. So here we have the main body shell, here we have the chassis, and we're gonna have to take pretty much both of them apart completely. Like, I don't think we've ever taken the smoke box off of Nia, but we're going to have to for this modification. Alright, and that's pretty much everything disassembled. We did get the smoke box off of Nia, but as you can see here, I did end up breaking off these pack tabs here just because they would not just work with me, so they're gone now. But it is what it is, and it still does work just fine. I'm not going to put it all the way back on because it's a really snug fit, but there's that. We've got the face separate here, and we've also got the chassis in all of its components. Now, the only thing left to do with this thing is go ahead and do a wheel swap, so I'll probably do that super fast, do another time lapse for that, and then we jump into the body. And this one's going to be a bit more complicated because, as you can see, there are stickers everywhere, and we have to completely remove those. Okay, so it turns out I'm doing just a little bit more with the chassis than I anticipated. It's actually, drying right now because I resprayed it black. So we'll come back to that here shortly. Really quick, let's jump on getting the stickers off this body. Now, as you can see on the front here, these front cab windows are now removed. And that was just me kind of experimenting, seeing how hard it was to get them off. And thankfully, that wasn't too rough. Got a little bit of residue that I'll probably get off with some rubbing alcohol, but now we just have to do the same thing to the sides, and then we can move on to priming, painting this thing, prepping it. Now, at first, I did want to Dremel a little bit into the front buffer beams, and that was to achieve the little arch or hole they have in the sides of the 1800. I don't think I'm going to do that on this model, though, just because I think it would mess up the integrity of the side here, and I just don't want to potentially fuck up the piston or, again, the side foot plate. So it's a tiny version of a Day Out with Thomas engine, so whatever. Alright, with all that being said, let's jump on these stickers. Let's see here. That's coming up pretty easy. Yeah, if we can just keep that going, this shouldn't be too much of an issue. Work our way up there. Yeah, there is quite a bit of residue left just on the back bunker here and from the sticker, so it's going to take a bit to clean this thing, but again, once that's done, we can go ahead and paint this as well. Now, technically, there's a couple methods for doing this. You could do exactly what I'm doing here and just kind of push the sticker off like so, or you could leave this in hot water for like 10 minutes, and it would probably, you know, pull right off. But you're still going to have to deal with that residue. I might actually go put this thing in some hot water just to make the other side a little easier. All right, let's just pull the rest of this thing off here and scratch the rest of that off too. Clean that up. Okay, so once we get some rubbing alcohol on this thing and just completely clean off this residue and do the same thing with the other side. I think I might do the hot water method just to make this a bit faster. With all of that being said, I think the chassis is looking pretty good. We might be able to jump into reassembly while this thing's in the water. Okay, so we got the body in some hot water. Let's jump on this chassis. Now, the reason I actually ended up dremeling off this side and then respraying it just to make it look a bit better was the only way I could get these side wheels to really fit on and still accommodate side rods was with them completely gone. These could not just sit on top of the molded things. So now with those gone, I can just glue those kind of in place, like you see there. Now, they may have to be trimmed down just a bit more because they have that peg there on the top, but we'll see once we have it all together. Shoot, I forgot. We also have to glue in the front axles here, or maybe just find a completely new one, because these, as you can see here, are not the long or normal ones. They are the ones that you just pull out of the side of Trackmaster engines. So we're gonna have to find a way to either secure that in the same area, or maybe just, again, find a new axle. I'm gonna try to glue it down first with some, maybe some plastic weld. We'll just see. We'll just see. Let's jump into that. Okay, and with that, we now have a completely redone Go-Go chassis. This is not the one we originally started with, as I'm sure you can tell. We've got the side middle wheels there. We've got the side rods, the front wheels, and thankfully, it's got a bit of a wonky wheel right now. I think that'll be helped with the body shell actually being on there to help direct it, but the whole thing works, and now we get to take a look at Nia's body, because I went and got that out of the water, as I'm sure you can tell. It's been about 10-15 minutes in there, so yeah, look at that. This sticker should be coming off pretty easy. Let's give that a shot real quick. Well, actually not really too different from, I guess, before. Maybe worse. Huh, so it turns out I didn't have to use the nail polish remover. I just kind of rubbed at it enough and it all came off. These are now clear. Yeah, even the front cab window is, so there we go. Now, I can't put this thing all the way back together yet, as I'm sure you can tell. I want to leave the smoke box separate because there's no real need to prime that as of now. I'll probably give it a matte black coat way later, but that's for later, and right now I need to find a face that'll even fit this thing, or a smoke box door. But yeah, this is kind of what we're looking at. I can at least see the vague shape coming through now. I think what we need to do is focus on priming this thing and figuring out how to do the small details on the side. I'm thinking for the cab windows and maybe the little cut in the side of the boiler, I'll probably just paint those on with some black paint once I actually have the main color applied. But with all of that being said, now that the chassis is ready, we've got a prepped body. Let's move on to primer. Alright, so here's what we're looking at now. A completely reprimed body. I did go ahead and fit it to the chassis. Got a battery in there. Working pretty damn good. We've got both sides completely ready as well. And there you go. As you can see, everything's looking good. Now, in a kind of unexpected turn of events, I went ahead and reprimed Nia's face. Now, I went ahead and took some rubbing alcohol, so it did eventually come into effect, and I removed the eyes, the mouth, everything that was printed on, and now it's got this blank face. You can probably tell where I'm going with this. Yeah, I shit you not, I went to take a pee, looked in the mirror, and remembered this tattoo right here, this Awdry Thomas drawing tattoo on my arm. Really good idea for this face. I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. So yeah, eventually I'll put those little closed eyes on there, and I guess that will be another nod or reference in this model. But I think for now, and for this video, that's gonna tie everything up. I'll decide on what blue I want to use for this thing, and from there, make a part 2 where we finish this model up. But yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed seeing the beginning processes of making models like this, and normally what it's like. Feel like I'm talking too much again. Let's get this thing put back together and take it to the layout.
Either subscribe, donate, or get the fuck out.